inevitably caught your attention with a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad or a friend, someone told you about us or told us about you or other way around. And you're like, who are these people? What do they even do? Can they help me? Do they know anything about selling art of photography or how to build a business? Is this a place that I might consider growing my art or photography business? You have all those types of questions, and we find the webinar format is a great way to get to know us. We get a chance to get to know you. You can kind of get a window into how we think, how we approach, how we look at this industry. And then if it's like, okay, I think I like these guys, I like what they're doing, we do a demo process, which is our sort of peek behind the curtain where we show all the bells, all the plans, all the whistles, all the everything. So that's sort of how we operate and how we do things. Being that I run the marketing department, I usually like to start with a marketing related message. And so that's what I have for you guys today. After we are done with that, we can open this thing up into open Q&A. You can ask any question that you might have about anything, and I will do my measured best to answer and hopefully give you a satisfactory answer. One thing for me, that I find really important on these sessions is whether you guys leave this call and you're like, okay, awesome, I'm going to sign up with Art Storefronts, or if you leave this call and you're like, okay, that was cool, but Art Storefronts is not for me. I want you to have learned something and at least have something to take away that you feel like can help you in your artistic journey, whether it's with us or not. Why you might want to listen to me, I've been at this for in upwards of 10 years. We have a little bit over 13,000 customers, and I get to see all of their data. So I have a very good idea of what it takes to grow an art or photography business today. What are the best ways to approach that, what you need to focus on, what you need to ignore, and all of those types of things. And so that's what I would love to rant about today. As the session rolls along, if you look at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's a little chat button down there, and there's a chat box. And so as things are sort of going, if you have questions or you want to throw them in the chat box, you can do that. We'll occasionally throw links in there. In addition to myself in here in this session, I also have one of my colleagues. We have a customer in Andrea Cross. She's a photographer from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. So if you want to ask questions of her rather than the corporate mouthpiece me, you can certainly do that as well. And then one other thing at the, I usually end up mentioning a bunch of this, that, the other videos, blog posts, links, books sometimes. I will be emailing you links to anything that I mention after the fact, as well as a replay of this thing. So if for some reason you have to go, totally get that. Life happens. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. Don't worry. I will send you a replay as soon as this thing is done. But what I'll do is because we're kind of in the New Year's mode still, and New Year's resolutions oftentimes bubble up to the top, right? And you guys want this to be your year in which you take the art photography business seriously. You really started getting going, get it growing. We should talk about that, practically speaking, what that looks like in today's day and age, today's landscape. So I like to start out with sort of the three business models that I think work in today's day and age. I forgot to click something. That I think are the only three business models that essentially work, and talk about those a little bit. Next, I'll pivot to the marketing problem, which every single solitary person on this call has. Every one of you has a marketing problem. It's not going away. It never goes away. It's the primary reason that most artists and photographers quit and don't get anywhere. So I'll spend some time talking about that. And then 3, I love talking about time and being open, like with a time horizon on how long it takes. How long does it take to grow a successful art or photography business? Everyone's got different goals for their business, but broadly speaking, no one gives themselves enough time to get it done. And so I want to talk about all 3 of those. So let's start at the beginning. 3 business models that you can hack it and kind of go towards in today's day and age. Number 1 is the gallery model. Okay, every single solitary person in this Zoom wishes the gallery model would work for them, which is essentially the idea. Big picture is, I create the work, I hand it off to them. They do everything else, all the sales, all the marketing, and I have this great big business in which I'm just creating. That sounds ideal. If I asked by a show of hands how many people would love to have that, everyone's hand would go right up. And by virtue of that fact, that should let you know it is an absolute fairy tale. Okay. No one ever talks about the gallery model in the context of real teeth, real revenue, what it looks like. Okay. And the ramifications. Number 1. Okay. Galleries, and let's use real numbers to give it some teeth. Let's say you're a very successful artist or photographer. You are in a gallery and You are selling $100,000, 6 figures a year inside that gallery. So at the end of the day, the gallery ended up taking 50% of that. The other 50% is yours. And then you get to subtract your expenses from that, your studio, or perhaps you're a photographer, your trips, your tripod, your lenses, your painting materials, your canvas, whatever the case may be. And so it's hardly a living wage in that capacity. And to sort of add insult to injury, the bigger problem than the 50% haircut is the artist or the photographer not having any idea who purchases their work, okay? Which is really the death knell of the gallery model, especially as a sole source of your revenue. And what most people don't understand, or I don't think is talked about enough, is that art and photography businesses are collector-driven businesses, okay? What is a collector? I got to get my book. I borrowed this idea from Weiland. Weiland's the whale guy. Most people would say he's a best-selling artist in the United States. I think he does about $50 million a year, is sort of the rumor on the street. This is his book. It's called Don't Be a Starving Artist. You can buy it directly from his website. I think there's an audio version free online. Very, very good book. Well, Weiland is the whale guy. And he defines a collector as someone that will purchase in upwards of 7+ pieces of work from him over the course of their lifetime. So in Weiland's mind, he keeps creating, and these folks just keep coming back and back and back and back and purchasing again and again and again. And now having, come up on almost 10 years here at Art Storefronts, I've realized just how powerful this notion of collectors are. Because collectors are essentially the base salary of any art or photography business. You keep creating, they keep coming and purchasing and purchasing and purchasing. It's a beautiful thing. And when you don't have any idea who is purchasing your work, you have no ability to market to these folks, and you have no idea to be able to identify your collectors such that you can sell to them over the course of your lifetime, because the gallery keeps them. And, we started running these sessions, these webinar sessions, like right before COVID hit, like a month before COVID hit. And that first year was like so transformative to my point of view on this particular question, because you had all of a sudden, when COVID hit, galleries closed, all the work stuck in the galleries. All of a sudden, all these artists and photographers that were utterly, totally, and completely reliant on that as their business model, and boom, the light switch just got thrown off. And there was nothing that most of these folks could do. And they kept coming onto these webinars, and they're like, helped, my work's embargoed in this gallery. I was doing great, and now I'm not making any money at all. How can I start selling my art again? And you realize that you can't put all of your eggs in that basket, because even if you're in a gallery and you're doing well today, the tides might switch. You might no longer be welcome in that gallery, get kicked out, and there's even less of them post-COVID. So anyway, I'm not anti-gallery. I'm not anti any revenue source, okay, that pays you money that is legal. But I don't like the gallery model. And if you make the scenario even rosier with the gallery model, is let's say you're knocking it out of the park and you're selling $300,000 a year of your art in the gallery. Okay, that is $150,000 a year take-home pay to you, minus your expenses. You're at $120,000, $110,000, $130,000. That's great. That's a lot of money. The percentage of artists and photographers that are in galleries that are at that level is no different than the percentage of people that that play a sport versus the number of professional athletes that you know. That is how low the odds are of an individual artist or photographer doing that well in a gallery. Does it happen here or there? Yes, it does, but the odds are just not good. And so I think more artists, more photographers need to be open and honest about the limitations that particular business model presents. But anyway, the gallery model, let's table that. The second business model is become a road warrior and do the show and fair circuit. I see a tremendous amount of artists become incredibly successful doing this. The good side about it is it forces you to get a booth. It forces you to have all of your work on hand. It forces you to learn how to merchandise it. You have a ton of conversations with people all the time. You will capture a ton of emails. You will get way better at selling. The downside is that you've got to do, call it 25 to 45 of them a year, or 25 of them to 35 of them a year. That means being gone on weekends, paying the booth fees, being on your feet 8 hours a day on a Saturday, sometimes on a Sunday, staying in hotels, eating crappy food, breaking your routine, being away from your family. It's very, very hard to do. Now, I'm 45, or almost 45. If I was giving advice to my 20-year-old self, I'd be like, Patrick, you're trying to make it as an artist. You are doing the show and fair circuit immediately. You don't have a significant other. You don't have a dog. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have any kids. Go out there and pound the pavement when you can when you're young, because it's a fantastic way to grow a business and grow a collector base and grow a huge email list and figure out really what your niche can and should be, right? To get more comfortable selling. It's a fantastic way to grow in our business. And I should say too that, again, I've never met a revenue source in this business that I don't like. What I love seeing are artists and photographers figuring out ways to monetize their creative talents and build the business that they want. And so hybrid models of any of these are great, right? Like if you're in a gallery and you're doing a little bit, that's fantastic. If you're doing 3 shows and theirs a year instead of the 25 or 35, that's fantastic too. But anyway, the third way to do it is obviously the one that we advocate, which is selling direct via your own website. Okay. And it is fantastic for a number of different reasons. 1, you can do all of the above without ever leaving your house. 2, you know everything about who's purchasing your work. 3, you're not taking a haircut, a 50-50 split on any time people are touching your work. 4, as a result of this, you can reach truly a worldwide audience. It is literally quite amazing. 5, with POD stands print on demand, you are instantaneously able to offer your work as prints, your work as merchandise, whichever ones you like. And all of that happens without you lifting a finger, okay? Orders come in, you get paid. Printer gets paid. Printer prints it, boxes it, ships it. The machine sends all the emails. You don't lift a finger, okay? That's amazing. That's incredible. Never, and I firmly believe this, never in history has it been a better time to be an artist, to be an entrepreneur, really. Because in my day, you were geographically limited to where you were, right? And you had to sleep. And now with the internet and especially social media and how you can get your message out there, you can be all of these places at once, which is incredible. So again, any hybrid of those business models is wonderful. But our position is knowing that this is a collector-driven business, knowing that you're going to be in this for life, okay? And you know, so another thing I should mention is, I don't even know how many of these you guys have done. I've done 2 to 3 a week since before COVID. So I literally have talking to hundreds of thousands of artists and photographers at this point in time, and I've learned something. Week in, week out, I get people in my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, occasionally people in their 90s. There was one call where a 96-year-old told a 92-year-old, called him a kid on the call, which I thought was hilarious. But anyway, why do I bring that up? Understand, you guys, that every one of you is going to be doing this for the rest of your lives. It never changes with artists and photographers. All you do is you quit for a little while and you come back. And the line that I always give is like, it's like Hotel California, right? You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. I see it routinely, okay? Routinely. Which gets me to my second point in all of this. Every single solitary one of you has a marketing problem. You have a marketing problem that is not going away. You don't like marketing. You've never marketed consistently in your life. You don't find it to come natural to you. You don't like learning about technology in most cases, okay? And what do artists and photographers do? What is the single solitary number one reason why artists and photographers don't make it and quit? They treat their marketing like they do the New Year's resolution, okay? You sign up for the gym in January. January starts off awesome. You're going 4 days a week. A couple months down the line, you haven't been once, right? Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I see it week in, week out. The marketing problem never goes away. It never stops. You have to keep hacking at it, keep learning how to do it, keep getting better. And this goes for my customers just as much as it goes for Andrea there, just as much as it goes for us as a business. And no one ever talks about that in this community, how important that is. Only the people that know are the ones that have been at it for a long, long time and realize like, yep, I need to fix my marketing. I need to take care of that. Now we have a very unique and novel approach to how we solve that, okay? Which is we are, as a business, essentially 50% all the technology. Yes, the website with all the bells and whistles, okay, and all the fancy this, that, and the other. But more important than that is we are essentially a postgraduate university that just teaches art and photography, business, and marketing all year long. That's what we do. And that's how we keep people going. And I realize that like the number one thing that we can do for our customers, independent of all the technology and the bells and whistles and everything else, is just make sure you never quit. Make sure you never quit marketing, because that's what every artist and photographer does. This is going to be my year. I'm going to do it. I'm finally going to make this dream a reality. I'm going to get this thing generating the income that I need. Then the rubber meets the road. Then it gets hard. Then because you are completely on your own without a team, you have essentially your significant other, things get tough. And what do? You take a little break and then take some time off. And then all of a sudden you're right back at it again, the exact same place you were before. So we realized that as a business. And I'll answer that for you in a second, Rodney. We realized that as a business, and we realized, like, essentially at the end of the day, our job, if we want to have a big business at Art Storefronts, is we need successful customers. It turns out the number one way to create good, successful customers is just to do whatever we can to get them to not quit. Because that's it. That's what everyone does. Do we have to teach you how to price your art? Yeah, we do. Do we have to teach you how to post on the social media sites? Yeah, we do. Do we have to teach you how to sell in person, how to capture emails, how to leverage QR codes, how to do in-person shows and fairs, how to run a live art show? Yeah, we do. But none of that is as important as saying, like, look, guys, this is a journey. You can't quit. You got to keep going. You have such a competitive advantage over everyone else if you just don't quit. And everyone that's on here at some point in time has already quit a number of different times. You wouldn't be here if you weren't, right? You tried it. You're like, I'm going to go do something. Maybe it was a marketplace. Maybe it was you'd paid for an SEO course or you did something, but you gave something a shot. You never got the traction. It didn't go where you wanted it to go. And then you're like, gosh, this is just too hard, and you quit, right? And then a little time passes, and then Hotel California line comes swinging back at you again. You got to solve the marketing problem, guys. If you don't solve the marketing problem, the business is not going to go anywhere. Okay, it's just not. And it's very, very difficult to solve the marketing problem on your own. You need help, you need support, you need encouragement, you need teaching, you need hand-holding. As Andrea will tell you, sometimes harassment. That's usually me. I am not above screaming and yelling at my customers in a very friendly way because I know how difficult it is. You guys are solopreneurs, right? And it's an emotional roller coaster. It's up and down and up and down and up and down. And if you don't have someone helping you out on the downs, the math say you're going to quit. And that's just how it goes. The third point that I love closing things out on is understand the time horizon, though, and the perspective of that, right? Like, again, I get people in every decade of life coming back on these sessions all the time. You have the rest of your life to figure this out. And why do I say that? So the asymmetry of the business is tremendous. If you can encourage and motivate and inspire yourself to go through the pain of learning how to do the marketing, you're going to have a business on your hand that is growing year after year after year. And for most of you guys, you have several decades to not 3 or 4 or 5 of them left to get it right? So most people quit in the short term because they don't understand how long it takes to build a valuable business. 3 to 5 years in today's day and age it takes to build anything. So most people they're not in for that journey, so they're not going to do it. But then also understand, like, how much time left you have to get it right. And I find that the number one thing that moves the needle, the number one thing that defines success, it's not about how many hours you spend a week on your marketing or on your business. It's doing it 50 weeks a year, year after year after year. That's it. It's not about the hours. It's about showing up consistently week in, week out. You do that, you end up having a business on your hand. And so what do we do for our 12, 13, I don't even know what we have now, 14,000 customers. Maybe I haven't done the count. I got to go look. It's between 13,000 and 14,000. We just keep them moving forward every single solitary day. We teach them how to do all the various aspects of running the business, when to focus on various different things, when to run sales, and we can talk a little bit about that, when not to, when to do regular marketing, how to do the in-person stuff, how to grow an email list, all of these various different things all year long. And that's the secret sauce. With everyone else out there, any of our competitors, any of them, you essentially get the website, right? And they're like, awesome. Congratulations on your website. Good luck. Let us know how it goes. With us, after you get the website, it's like, welcome. Welcome to the marathon. Come on in. Let's go. Right? And then we start teaching you what to do day in, day out, every single solitary day for the rest of your natural born life. We have a product that I'm most proud of called Office Hours. And they're essentially Zoom sessions just like this, just like the one you guys are all in right now. And we have 9 of them a week. Every single solitary week. Maybe we take a week off for Christmas. But every single solitary week, every day, you can pop into a Zoom session and you can get help. Something you're struggling with, or maybe we're having a specific session teaching you how to do something, run a live art show on Instagram, or how to do reels, or it's how to capture emails, or how to leverage QR codes. But we do that all year long. And that's what we've realized is our secret sauce, what differentiates us from everyone else. My position is, leave here today, sign up or don't sign up. If you want to have a successful business, you're going to have to learn how to market your art. Okay. You can either do that on your own, YouTube, podcasts, read blog posts, buy courses, or you can come and be supported in that journey. And we found that's what helps us get there. What helps us do it. But enough of me ranting. We can open it up to Q&A. How does that work? If you're one of the brave ones that has your camera on and you have a question, I'll see it. So you can just do the old school hand raise, and I'll see that. For everyone else, I saw you, John. For everyone else, if you click the more button, there's a raise hand button, and that lets you raise your hand digitally speaking, and that lets me know, like, hey, you've got a question. And I can certainly answer those. If you don't want to turn your camera on, by the way, you don't have to turn your camera on, okay? I have a face for radio. Okay, I hate having my camera on. If this wasn't my job, you would never see me, but it is my job. So you can do that. You can ask via audio. You can also throw your questions into the chat. Rodney asked a question: what volume, number of photos do you need to have a viable business? The answer to that question is 1. It's literally 1. But let me ask you this, Rodney. You might as well start. And you can unmute, Rodney. What context are you asking that question? Like, how many you need to get started?
Well, I've looked at other of some of your customers' sites, and they have a pretty good volume of photos, probably 50, 100 different photos.
Yep.
Is that? I'm not sure that. I've got good quality photography, but at this point in time, I don't know that I have more than 25 or 30 that I think are saleable. So.
Yep. Gotcha. How I would answer that is this, and don't take it cynically. I don't care if you sign up with us or if you don't sign up with us. 1 image is enough to get started. 1. And the reason I say it that way is because what I see is all just get started when? All just get started when I get my business account set up, or my logo, or when I know what my niche is, or when I name my thing, or when I figure out what my best sellers are. And the hours turn into days, turn into weeks. How's that art business coming along, right? Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
However, the ROI on investing $2,000, $3,000, or $4,000 having 1 image is not very good.
Oh, quite to the contrary. So what most people do, it depends on how you define the ROI of your time, right? What most people do is, and when I say most people, I've done this multiple times in my career when I was younger as well. I'll just get started when I get this series together, right? And sometimes you'll be working on a series that you find creatively inspires you in a direction that you think is going to work really, really well. The problem is you never got the feedback about whether or not that direction worked or it didn't work, right? And so you go down the road, there could be travel. If you're a photographer going to national parks to get these photos, let's say you're a landscape photographer, right? There could be a whole bunch of different stuff involved in getting there. And then you take the product to market and it's crickets, because there is no market for that product. Now, that doesn't mean you're a crappy photographer. It just means you picked a subject matter material that doesn't appear to be resonating with any audience of any size. And you've now wasted an additional year of your life, the time, travel, money, effort, and all that takes to get that series done to realize you don't have a market. Okay, let's say you launch with 1, right? You launch with the 1, you go and show it off. Instantaneously, you get some feedback. They're like, this is great, but it's not really what I want. Or it's awesome, and then you have a business. You getting the feedback is the single solitary most important thing an artist or a photographer can do, right? And the work has to sell. And a lot of times the work doesn't sell. And I've got so many of my customers that have come in with these huge image data banks of what they wanted to do. They realized nobody wanted that work. Then we put them in the program to start figuring out what people do want, trying some new ideas, and then they go down a different direction and they have a huge business. So going through that process and getting started, you could end up saving yourself tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on how you value your time running. And
answer. Thank you.
Yeah. And I totally mean that, whether you start with us or not. Like, let's say you leave this call and you're like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get this work in front of some eyeballs. And so if I'm you, Rodney, you know what I'm going to do? If I wanted the path of least resistance, I would go and get the work printed out. I would have a garage sale this weekend, and I would put all the work out in the front yard. Shut up. Don't even say anything else. And then just sit there and man the garage sale and see what kind of offers you get coming in for the work. If they're good ones, you have a business on your hand. If it's like, I'll give you $5, then, you might have some issues, right? I can't tell if you're trying to unmute again or not. You'll have to hit the mic icon again.
Yeah. Well, I think we're at 13 below today. I don't think we'll start a garage sale today.
No, I don't think that's a good time to start a garage sale either. I don't think we would get a ton of traffic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, it was so funny because we're sort of like a distributed company now. We don't have an office anymore. That all went away during COVID. But you know, my colleagues that are in Texas are like, yeah, school's canceled. Which they were talking daycare because there's no school today because it's MLK Day. But they're like, it's just too cold out there. You know, and in Texas it's like -20, or not -20, but it's like 20. 20 degrees, but they don't have the infrastructure there to do anything. I'm in Southern California, it's 60 degrees outside, so I don't have any frame of reference. Yep. John, I think you're raising your hand. Are you raising your hand, John? I can't tell. I'm going to unmute you, John, just out of an abundance of caution. I can't tell if you're scratching your back or if you're raising your hand. Yep.
Hi there. Am I on?
You certainly are. Yeah.
Okay. My issue is that I've had positive feedback on everything I've done. And I have close to a dozen sets of photography from the West Coast to the East Coast.
Okay.
My issue is getting it reviewed and having it take a look at, because I've had nothing but extremely positive feedback, wanting to know when I'm going to start my own business.
Yep.
Not if and when, but when am I going to do it? So what I need to know is there a site I can go to see what the initial investment is? What it takes, because I am a logistics and shipping specialist. So I don't know if you folks take care of all that.
Yeah, we do.
What portion of that is included in the price of the picture, or how does that work? Is there an invoice breakdown for this?
Oh yeah, of course. We can show you all that stuff. But let's start at the top. Your work is so good, you should start a business. This piece is amazing. What incredible job. You were in a juried art show and you won first place, right? None of those.
No, I haven't been done any of that yet.
Yeah. No, I know. But my point is, none of those are buttons on the ATM machine for a reason. The only thing that matters in terms of feedback is that credit card going through the credit card machine and or the cash changing hands. So one of the things that we constantly have to train our customers to do in these scenarios, exactly what you're talking about, is teaching you to say, wonderful, they're all for sale. Which one do you want? Notice the awkward pause afterwards of silence, right? You teach yourself to shut up and wait. And it's literally a muscle. It's like lifting weights, right? Like, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I have some customers that say all of them would look great on your wall. Which one do you want? Right?
Well,
and literally wait that long because otherwise you'll never know. And literally the only thing that can tell you whether or not your work is going to sell, whether or not your work is good, is the transaction. No one else can tell you anything except the actual transaction taking place. Yeah. But yeah, we do what's called a demo process where we walk you through all the bells, all the whistles, all the plans, all the everything else. But just to let you know how it goes in terms of the printing, we have the 2 print partners, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. The one on the West Coast is called Bay Photo. It's a huge business, huge brand. The one on the East Coast is not a public-facing brand, but it's called Graphic Dimensions. And we get you better than wholesale pricing there. An order comes in, you get paid, they print it, box it, slap your logo on the side of it, ship it. That's on prints. So that's on metal, canvas, fine art, paper, frames, all of that.
Cool. Yeah.
And then we have a merch partner called Guten. And Guten does the throw pillows and coasters and photo books and puzzles and cell phone cases and tote bags, which are an important part of a business. It's really, really an important part of a business. And people have like mixed opinions on, well, you were asking from a logistics standpoint. And so that stuff is printed everywhere, right? All kinds of different locations, but they box it and ship it as well. So you don't have to lift a finger for any of that, which is kind of nice. And yes, there's like detailed breakdowns on all of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, will you be sending out further emails to?
Yeah, I will.
Send in some prints maybe or something.
Yeah, I'll have somebody contact you, John. That's what I'll do.
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. And ask next time for sure. Be like, John, wonderful. They're all for sale. Which one can I print for you?
I did that. Well, I had done that. I asked them which one you'd like because I've been giving a couple away, and it's like, well, let me look.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have something here, but like they say, the proof's in the pudding.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And you'd be surprised how effective a technique it is, because you never know. You never know if these people are being nice, and being awesome, or like they're genuinely interested. And you know what I find a lot of times is like they like what you have going on, but that's not exactly what they want. But they like your eye. They're like, I really like all this, but could you potentially do something like this? And a lot of times it turns into commissions, as a result too. So it's just a really powerful technique. It's like anything else. It's like a muscle, You can do one push-up the first time, and then you keep working at it, and then you can do 10, and then, yeah. But thanks, John.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. All right. Yeah, welcome aboard, Jeanette. We run this one, Jeanette, for people that are trying to learn information about us. You've already signed up, but welcome aboard. Doesn't mean the information is not valuable. Of course it is. Well, at least I like to think so anyway, right? I'm the one giving it. But who else, guys? Questions, comments, concerns? Can be anything about anything, of course. Everyone's like, yeah, it's a Monday, 3-day weekend. It's quiet. Although Andrea's from Canada, she's like, what do you mean 3-day weekend? I don't get that time off, right? Yeah. Oh, thanks for saying that, Jeff. I appreciate it. Saying he learned more on this one. Yeah, I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't. I'm sick of it. There's so many charlatans running around telling you that it's easy, telling you that there's some magical formula, telling you there's some special pricing formula, telling you there's some sort of magical website. Like, let me just tell you right now, no, there's not. It's miserable the first couple of years because you have to learn how to market, and none of you are going to like that. But if you do it and you do it consistently, it turns out you're going to have a business, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. You can ask Andrea out there is laughing because she's almost in year 2, suffering, learning all the marketing, but getting better at it every day, right? Getting better at it every day. And, it's like anything else. And it's an extremely valuable skill set once you actually learn how to promote yourself and you learn how to, properly leverage modern day marketing to get attention. And once you do, you have a business on your hands and it starts growing and it's really exciting. So that's what I would say. Other than that, in the meantime, while you guys are contemplating whether or not you have questions, for any of those that listen to podcasts, we've got one. It's a good one. It's usually pretty heavy marketing tactical stuff. Over 500,000 downloads, which is awesome. I feel pretty good about that. But it's called the Art Marketing Podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify. Anywhere you find a podcast, you can find it. And love to have you guys listen to it. It's totally free. It's totally awesome. There's some very, very good stuff on there. I break down in my particular style a lot of the things that I think all artists and photographers need to be focused on. So if you see anywhere you listen to a podcast, all you have to do is type Art Marketing Podcast. Look for this ugly orange logo that really needs updating, okay? Art Storefronts, can we get some budget for a graphic designer? For Pete's sake, this thing is disastrous. And then give it a listen. I think you guys will really like it. But anyway, that's what I got. Also, my colleague was in here too. I never know what our specials are, but I'm going to go ahead and post this thing again because we have a crazy special deal going on right now. And I know some of you guys already have demos in the water and everything else, but I think this is brand new for this week. So make sure you ask for this. What is it? Website management for life, included for free. That's all the technical work. Yeah. So, you heard me rant the whole time about you guys all have a marketing problem, right? So what we sort of realized on the journey is all we need our customers doing is creating the art and working on the marketing problem. If they're working on anything else, they're wasting their time. So one of the first things that we did when we figured this all out is like, we are no longer letting our customers build their websites. It takes too damn long. You don't need to learn to speak CSS, HTML, website builder. Okay, GoDaddy. I don't want you wasting your time with any of that nonsense because that's what it is. You're an artist that needs to learn how to market. You are not an artist that needs to learn how to market and be a part-time web designer, okay? You don't need to do that. That is a waste of your time. So now we build your website for you. That's where we started. And the deal that we're offering right now, we took it to its logical conclusion is now you don't ever have to touch your website ever. If you need something new to add it to it, you tell us, we do it. If you need something taken off, you tell us, we do it. If you need an additional page added, tell us, we do it. And why? We can do it easier than you can. I don't want you wasting your damn time building web pages. I want you wasting your time creating art, not wasting your time, but you know what I mean. I want you spending your time, investing your time, creating art and then learning how to market it. And that's it. And that's the ball game. And that's what we teach all year long. So yeah, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions for Andrea, which you of course can ask as well? Like including Andrea, how comfortable is that sweater? Okay, it looks pretty comfortable.
Cold up here.
Yeah.
I need a sweater.
How cold is it in Vancouver?
It's actually not that bad today, but it was -10 Celsius.
Oh, that's
early,
cold.
Last week.
Like
I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
It's like 26 degrees, 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Cold. We have this one guy, Taylor, on our marketing team. Andrea knows him, right? And everyone was like complaining about how cold it was this morning on our call. It's a little inside baseball here. And he's like, all right, I've heard enough, because he lives in Chicago. He goes, it was -30 with the wind chill yesterday. That's like, I don't even know what in Celsius. Not good. Yeah. So Liz is asking, do we offer samples? Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, we do. I mean, we use the best printers in the world, Liz. So the samples are insane. The quality is insane. I mean, all you have to do is just Google Dave Photo, read some of the reviews, look at it. They're massive. You not having good quality print samples, the least of your problems right there. The least of your problems. They have everyone. The dirty little secret is everyone uses the same printers now. They all use the same ink. They all use the same devices to calibrate their monitors, and they all buy the same media types from the same manufacturers. So really, the difference is, are you choosing a more budget product or not? And who's buying ink by the barrel? And the ones that are buying ink by the barrel can give you a better price. So that's kind of how the printing is going. Well, all right, guys. Well, thank you for spending the time with me on a Monday. I appreciate all of you. Going to send the follow-up emails. Send a recording of this here video today, as well as some other little links and goodies in there for you. Appreciate you guys spending the time. And any follow-up questions, totally encourage you to get a demo. You can do that. We have buttons literally everywhere. Even our buttons have buttons. So you should be able to find that in all the emails and everything else, and you can request a demo, and then John, I will make sure they contact you. Don't worry. You don't have to do anything. John's like, okay, cool. I can just lounge. I'm handling the logistics on that one, John. Don't worry. All right. Well, I appreciate all of you guys. Happy Martin Luther King Day, and have a great rest of your